Eastern Wigeon.
He didn't have a permit, he didn't have an oxygen mask, and he certainly didn't have a plan to come to Everest Base Camp. His name is Pemba Tshering. He's a Eurasian Wigeon that was blown over in a storm from the Gokyo Lakes region, only 6 or so kilometers as the crow flies, but enough to be a life and death situation for a Wigeon that does not belong at Everest Base Camp. And so while over 425 permitted climbers wait anxiously and have been doing so for 3 weeks while the Icefall doctors are endeavoring to find a way up the mountain safely, a Sherpa named Ong Tshering Lama was focused on saving this one life. So right now, as we record this very video, Pemba Tshering, the Eurasian Wigeon, is being trekked down to Lukla, where he will be flown up on a helicopter to the Gokyo Lakes region and be reunited with family who no doubt have wondered, where did our loved one go to? What a story, and what a great story it is. And right now, it's the first rescue, and successful at that, of the Mount Everest 2026 season. The rest of the mountain, the permitted climbers and others, are about to step into a gauntlet known as the Khumbu Icefall. In my more recent video, just only 3 days before recording this video, I reported that there was a possibility that this season could be over. And it's amazing what just 12 hours time difference makes. Wonderfully and miraculously, for all of those waiting in base camp, the Icefall doctors, with a team of elite guides and climbers from an array of expedition operators across base camp, found a way. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that route. The Sagarmatha Pollution Control Committee has released a document that says, while there is a route up, it is by no means their preferred safety level, but they're not prepared to cancel the season. So all those people in base camp, the hundreds upon hundreds of those who are not involved in actually working on the mountain, still have to wait. All of this footage that I'm showing you right now are Sherpa and mountain workers bringing equipment up the mountain. Look at this enormous crevasse with 4 ladders spanning this huge crevasse, and they're up there doing the work to make sure these camps are established. There's a lot of food, tents, equipment, oxygen bottles. All of that has to be moved up the mountain. So while media has reported, and technically it's correct, that the Khumbu Icefall is open, there is a lot of work to be done. So all of those people who are there on permits still have to wait. It will be even possibly a few more days from the posting of this video until they can actually step upon the mountain. This unstable serac that blocked the route for several weeks has not officially disappeared. It's been said in some of the posts that I've been looking at that perhaps 40% of it has fallen away. It is a route that they ultimately took, that they cut a corner essentially, making the route shorter, but as someone said, hairier. Now, let me go to the Instagram page of a friend of ours of the channel who I mentioned in the previous video, Xavier Ladouceur. He is a climber, 23 years old, endeavoring to climb Mount Everest. He's feeling the pressure, a certain level of tension. He reports in this recent post that it feels not like 21 days at the foot of Mount Everest, but like years. And as I record this video, this is only 3 hours ago that this was posted. He said that this year it appears that nothing has gone to plan. Despite everything that we've been covering in this video, the difficulties that they're having in the Khumbu Icefall, Everest still has an undeniable pull, a magnetic, almost irrational pull to stand at the foot of this gigantic mountain and start walking uphill. If you've been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't really explain it, but you feel it. And when that pull takes over, that's when the preparation begins. The gear, the logistics, the endless tasks. And one thing that serious expedition operators require of you before you leave for that expedition is you need a medical clearance from your doctor. Which raises the question, when's the last time you saw one? That's where today's sponsor comes in, ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free website that takes the hassle out of finding a doctor. You search, you compare in-network providers, you find an opening that fits your schedule, and you book it instantly. Right there, done. No calls ever needed. I've gone the deep dive into the ZocDoc website, and I'm honestly blown away. I put off things like the doctor all the time, and sometimes years go by. I'm thankful for having good health, but I found everything that I possibly could have wanted right inside this website at the tip of my fingers. With more than 150,000 providers across nearly every specialty, primary care, mental health, dental, eye care, dermatology, ZocDoc has you covered no matter what you need. No phone calls, no waiting on hold, just a few clicks and you're booked. Plus, it's completely free to use. I want you to know that you're important to me, to the entire Everest mystery community, and I hope that you haven't put off making a doctor's appointment the way I've done in the past. Your health is important, and I know it may seem small, but just by clicking the link in the description is a huge step towards prioritizing your health. Head to ZocDoc.com/Everest Mystery, linked in the description below, and find a top-rated doctor today. Using ZocDoc, find the right doctor right now. Xavier Ladouceur has mentioned that he's going to send a video to Everest Mystery tomorrow when the sun shines, and we'll look forward to that, and I'll certainly get that out as soon as possible when that happens. And so we wish him a sweet dreams, as the lights are probably out there by now. This is a tough thing. You have to understand that there is enough time on the mountain to get everybody up, but no doubt the delay has been several weeks. Usually everybody's been up into the icefall one or even possibly two times by this time. And so what a lot of teams are doing is they're taking their climbers and bringing them to Mira Peak or Lobuche East to climb and stay and sometimes even sleep up higher. There was a plan from one camp where people were going to go to Makalu and sleep at Camp 2, and Makalu is an 8,000 meter peak, just to keep moving, to keep acclimatizing, to be ready when the time comes to move up that mountain. And so imagine Nepal, the expedition outfit, they have already pushed to Camp 2, which is essentially like an advanced base camp. And I'll put a graphic up on the screen to kind of give you an idea of where Camp 2 is in relation to base camp, Camp 1, and what's above it. But the Sherpa teams are essentially doing these, what they said are brutal rotations, 31 members that moved from base camp to Camp 2 and back in a single push to try to make up for lost time, trying to outrun the calendar. So in a compressed season, there's really no margin for error. Let's just hope that Pemba Tshering, the Eurasian Wigeon, is the only rescue that will have to happen on the mountain this year. But for any climber waiting and becoming impatient below, a single chest infection, any cough or gastrointestinal problem could be the end of the season right now. So people need to keep together, stay safe, not wander around and see other people, just keep it to themselves and get as strong as possible. This is absolutely fascinating. So that block of ice that the Icefall doctors and the elite guides who found the workaround route up to Camp 1 and beyond, the SPCC, the Sagarmatha Pollution Control Committee, released a statement that puts it into perspective what that block of ice looks like. That block of ice is reported to be 55 meters wide, 28 meters high, and 37 meters thick. That is a gigantic block of ice. And so to picture this, and now remember, you as a climber of Mount Everest or a mountain worker hired to support the permitted climbers, you'd have to walk directly underneath that, and it's unstable and it could fall, parts of it could fall at any time. 55 meters is about half of an American football field. That's how wide it would be. 28 meters high is a 9-story building. And now thickness, 37 meters, that's 12 stories of depth going back into the mountain. The length of 4 double-decker buses, nose to tail, whole thing together. We're talking about a block of ice that I've did some interesting stuff. It said the Serac weighs in the neighborhood of 51 million kilograms or 51,000 metric tons. Comparatively speaking, the Titanic weighed about 52,000 metric tons. So we're talking about a block of ice like the Titanic, and it could tip over at any moment, or chunks of it the size of basketballs or buses or small cars, and you do not want to be there if and when that is likely to happen. The SPCC, they said, and now this is pretty sobering, they said the Serac has multiple cracks and may collapse at any time. The SPCC strongly urges all expedition operators and climbers to exercise extreme caution. Now, you should always do that in the Khumbu Icefall, but it really appears that they are raising the bar on the mountain right now. So climbers need to be alert, not put music in their ears, to listen for anything that's happening in the mountain, to move quickly. And when you rest or stop, they were going to have to stop in open areas where at least it feels safer from rockfall above or from falling seracs. And now, while all eyes are shifting up the mountain, I reported recently, ever so briefly, with only the information that I had about human remains that were discovered near Everest Base Camp during the stoppage of work up the mountain. And I have been in touch with a representative from Nepal who's given me an update on that. I will be putting something together to give you some information on what the status is with those human remains. I'm working on that, and that will be brought to you very soon. I'm also in touch with 2 expedition doctors on the mountain that we'll be speaking with, including, as I mentioned earlier, a report from Xavier Ladouceur, and we will bring, Simba seems to be making a clamoring for some attention, who wants to know about our friend Pemba Tshering, the Eurasian Wigeon. Perhaps they should have put a little tag around its foot so we could follow the adventures of Pemba Tshering, the Eurasian Wigeon, our favorite Everest character this year. They'll be endeavoring to get DNA testing done to absolutely identify who this person was that lost their life in the Khumbu Icefall. It's not lost on many of us that we watch as hundreds of mountain workers are pushed into the icefall in very, very dangerous conditions right now. And this is a time for also some of those permitted climbers to ask themselves, how far do they want to take it? Is this a comfortable place for them? That mountain will be there forever and ever and ever. And so sometimes turning around is a prudent thing to do as well. So we can only hope that people are, and the expedition operators and guides, and are making the right decisions that are in the best interests of not only themselves, but of the mountain workers who are there that make this whole thing possible in the first place. So I'll try to bring you more soon on Pemba Tshering, the Eurasian Wigeon, as well as the human remains that were discovered there. And hopefully we will have positive upward mobility up that mountain as the month of May unfolds. It's all coming down in the next 30 days. Usually by June 1st, that mountain is closed. So safety to all, blessings to all. What do you think? Please be sure to leave your comments in the section below. And if you're still watching, I hope you'll take a moment to subscribe to Everest Mystery. And why don't you check out our member section? We have a ton of exclusive content. You can find it there. And also you can find it over on patreon.com/Everest Mystery. There's a free section over there. So check that out, at least for starters. And also make sure you take a look at our merch page at everestmystery.com. Really cool hats, sun shirts, hoodies, t-shirts, organic cotton t-shirts, a bunch of stuff for you to check out over there. And in the meantime, do somebody a good deed. Don't ask for anything in return. And make the world a better place, one step at a time. Peace be with you.